Hey class, today we're going to be reading all about energy. While we are reading, please make sure you are using your note sheet next to you to answer the questions about the reading. You may pause this video at any time to answer the questions, or wait till each section is done to answer the questions thoroughly. We are going to start today by reading all about burning fuel.
Energy. Burning fuel. Energy is present in many different places. Energy comes from an energy source. One source of energy is fuel. Fuel is material that has stored energy. People burn fuel to release the stored energy. How can you tell that energy is released when fuel burns? You can see the light and feel heat. Wherever there is light and heat, there is energy. Candle wax is a fuel. When candle wax burns, the energy of the wax can be observed as heat and light. Coal is a fuel. When coal burns, the stored energy of coal is released as heat. Burning coal produces heat to boil water in a steam train. The steam from the boiling water turns the train wheels. The energy of coal puts the steam train into motion. Wherever there is an object in motion, there is energy. Natural gas is another kind of fuel. When gas burns, the energy of the gas produces heat. Heat from the burning gas can do many things. Can you think of some ways to use this heat?
Notice the candles burning, and notice the wax that is dripping as the energy source. Down here, the train, the coal is the fuel that makes the steam to power this train. Lastly, burning natural gas makes the heat.
Oil, gasoline, and wood are also fuels. Burning oil releases heat. People use heat to warm homes and make electricity. Burning gasoline releases energy to make cars and trucks move. The energy of oil and gasoline produces heat and motion. People burn wood to provide heat for homes, and heat from burning wood in a campfire can cook food.
You will notice the next section is food is fuel. Before we go on, please take this time to pause the video, to go back and answer the questions on your note sheet. When you are finished, please hit the play button to continue on to the next section. On your note sheet, you should be on the next section, which is food is fuel.
Food is fuel. A slice of pizza or a piece of fruit tastes good. Pizza and fruit are examples of food. But do people eat food only for the taste? No. Food is the fuel that makes life happen. Food has stored energy, just like other kinds of fuel. Living organisms burn fuel to release energy. The food doesn't really burn with a flame like wood or coal. Animals digest food, and the stored energy is released. Animals, including people, use food to produce motion and heat. Sled dogs digest food to provide energy to run, pull the sled, and keep warm. What do you do with the energy of food?
Notice the pictures on the bottom. All animals eat food to get the energy they need to live. Notice the dogs running. They needed energy to do so. Food gives you energy to play sports. Notice the kids in the video. Energy is required to run and to play sports.
How does energy get into food? You might be surprised to know that the energy of food comes from the sun. Light is one way that energy moves. Light from the sun shines on plant leaves. The leaves absorb energy. The leaves take up water from the soil and carbon dioxide, CO2, gas from the air. Plants make sugar from the carbon dioxide, water, and energy of the sun's light. Sugar is food. Energy stored in food is released when you eat and digest food, so really, it is energy from the sun that keeps you warm, lets you run, and makes all your other activities possible.
Notice we're going on to the next section, which is motion. Before we do that, please take this time again to pause the video, to go back if you need to answer the questions for this particular section, which is food is fuel. Hit the play button when you are ready to go on to the next section, which is motion.
Motion. Did you transfer any energy today? The answer is yes. Every second of every day, you are transferring energy. The action of lifting a pencil takes energy. The action of looking at a picture takes energy. The action of thinking about what to eat for lunch takes energy. Every action requires energy. The energy for lifting, looking, moving, and thinking comes from food. The energy of food is stored in chemicals. As food breaks down in your body, energy produces heat and motion and even electric currents. Electric currents send messages throughout your brain and along your nerves. Heat, movement, and electric impulses are important ways that energy moves to keep you and your friends alive.
Again, at this point, make sure you are answering the question from the section on your note sheet titled Motion. Pause the video, take some time to answer the question before you move on to the next section, which is sound. When you are ready, hit the play button to go on to the next section. Next section, making sound in your note sheet.
Making sound. Sound is another way to observe that energy is present. When objects vibrate, they produce sound. A vibration is a fast back and forth movement. A vibrating object pushes on air. That back and forth motion pushes on the air and makes waves that create sound. The sound waves travel through air. They carry the energy created by the vibrating, moving object. The sound waves hit your ear. The energy carried by the sound waves moves the little bones in your ear. You hear the sound. Waves carry sound from a bell to your ear.
Before moving on to the next section, make sure you hit the pause button, look at your chart under making sound, answer the questions that have to do with this section. When you are ready, hit the play button to go on to our final section called fossil fuels.
Fossil fuels. Do you know what a fossil is? You may have seen fossils of leaves, shells, or bones. They are usually found in layers of rock. Fossils are the preserved remains of organisms that lived long ago. We know that dinosaurs lived on Earth 65 million years ago. That's because we have fossils of dinosaur bones that we can study. Oil, coal, and natural gas are called fossil fuels. Scientists think that fossil fuels started as organisms that lived a long time ago. For millions of years, these organisms died and piled up on Earth's surface. Over time, they got buried deep underground. Slowly, the organisms changed into oil, coal, and gas. That's why they are called fossil fuels. They are the ancient remains of organisms. Fossil fuels are made of chemicals. The chemicals in fossil fuels can be burned to produce useful energy. Burning fossil fuels produces heat. How do we use fossil fuels? People everywhere use oil for transportation. Cars, buses, trucks, ships, trains, and airplanes burn fuels made from oil to make them move. Coal is used a lot in the Midwestern and Eastern United States. Coal is burned to generate heat and electricity. Coal is also burned to make steel. In the western part of the United States, people use a lot of natural gas to generate electricity. The burning gas heats water to make steam. The steam turns generators to make the electricity used in homes and schools.
At this point, pause the video, look at your sheet, answer the questions that go along with this section. When you are ready, hit the play button to go on to the last and final reading of the day.
Observable evidence of energy. Stored energy is useful to people when it produces heat, light, sound, and electric current and puts objects in motion. Heat, light, sound, electric current, and objects in motion are evidence that energy is present and available to do work. The energy of food produces heat and motion in our bodies when digested. The energy of fuel produces heat and light and can sometimes produce motion. The energy of batteries produces electric currents in a complete circuit. Electric currents can produce heat, light, motion, and sound. Look at the table below. The left-hand column lists sources of stored energy. The right-hand column lists the evidence of energy the source can produce. Stored energy source produces observable evidence of energy. Corn, heat and motion. Turkey, heat and motion. Carrot, heat and motion. Wood, heat and light. Wax, heat and light. Oil, heat and light. Natural gas, heat and light. Coal, heat and light. Battery, heat, light, sound, and motion.
Now take a look at your note sheet. You will notice that there are 2 questions at the end. It's called Think Deeper. Take this time to answer those questions. Now, at any point, if you missed any of the questions above, or you need to go back and answer those questions at any time, please use the rewind button to go back to that specific section and answer the questions. You can go back as many times as needed to answer the questions in each section. By the end of this video, please make sure all of your questions have been answered and that you answered them in full details.